Okay, so good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining today's session. It is a smaller audience today. That's no bad thing. Gives us a wee bit more of an opportunity to get involved and ask some questions. So thanks for joining us. So the webinar today is scheduled for just over an hour. So we've I guess plenty of time. I'm sure we will have plenty of time for discussion if that's the case. So again, welcome and thanks for joining us. So it just move us on, Jane. Thanks. So a little bit of housekeeping, and then I'll kind of do some introductions and explain why we're here. So thanks for joining us. As I said, we're online still. Gradually moving, I think, as we all are, to more sort of live events and face-to-face, but it's good opportunities to still do some things online. That kind of opens up kind of different geographies a wee bit. So the webinar is being recorded. I know a few people that couldn't make it and are keen to see what we're talking about today, and for those that are here, obviously to catch up later if you want. I think everybody knows most of these now in terms of microphones and webcams. Probably helps in terms of speakers and avoiding background noise. But please do get involved. Everybody knows where the chat function is. Any questions, any points along the way, then please do put that there, and there'll be plenty of time, at some point and towards the end for questions, about discussion and questions, and please do, enjoy the session today, and what you put in, I guess, is what you're going to get out. So please do enjoy it. Move on a little bit. So just a quick introduction. My name's David McGregor. I'm from an organisation called SEED, and I'll explain in a wee minute why SEED are involved with the Advanced Manufacturing Centre in the West Highlands, which is why we're here today, and I'll introduce that in a second. But SEED are essentially a best practice and knowledge sharing group or a community, supporting our members and network to solve a range of operational issues, and it's those challenges raised that determines what we do and how we do it. So the agenda is set by the community that we represent. So the graphic in front of you is just a one graphic just to try and explain what we do. We have essentially a kind of a people development aspect involving leadership programs, clinics, events, executive leadership program, and that's led by many external experts and partners. But then, very importantly, we have kind of the member side of things, a lot of show and tell, site tours, other clinics, events, and I guess today is part of that. And that cross-sector and industry development really drives that kind of peer-to-peer and knowledge sharing. Move on. So how are SEED involved the programme? So this session's to focus and bring understanding, or a better understanding, to the Advanced Manufacturing Centre in the West Highlands. So that's one of 12 projects. You can see the graphic with the projects listed there, and the AMC is one of those, and that's funded by the Advanced Manufacturing Cluster Fund. So in 2020, SEED was appointed the Cluster Builder Programme Manager for the MCB initiative. So the MCB was essentially established to create a national network of, I guess, regional centres and specialist groups or projects to drive innovation performance of Scotland's SMEs, and it's been doing that for a year or two now, and Margaret will tell you more about that from her centre. So the projects, which are free at source, aim to provide support, expertise, capability to test and implement new and innovative ways of working. So helping you develop new products, processes, grow and improve the business. So it's the help that we all need as businesses, and particularly as small businesses looking to drive innovation. And those 12 projects are looking to do that across a number of different areas and sectors. Some regional, as I said, and some specialist. And you can see how, with the SEED support within the graphic, that can bring in other industry, academia, other sector support, and bring it as a kind of full collaborative offering. So that's the success of the AMCB. So I won't, so we can move me on, Jane. I won't take up too much of your time because that's not why we're here today. It's not for seed. It's just wanted to tell you a little bit about that for those that don't know. So if you need to know more, these will be in the slide pack and obviously the webinar that gets issued out. So there's details on there if you want to find out a wee bit more. So if I could do some quick introductions before I hand over. So we're here today essentially to hear about the Advancing Manufacturing Centre. There's many people involved in that, but Margaret, who's on to talk about it today, is project lead of AMC. So Margaret, very clever lady, chartered engineer, mechanical engineer and product design engineering. You can read that as well as I can speak it, but I suppose what's not on there, which I've seen, is Margaret's passion for engineering and manufacturing, and I think that will come across today. If you do get involved in the centre, I'm sure that Margaret and the team there will be able to provide some excellent and value-added support. So I think we're also joined today by Rob, I think, if you move that on, this graphic. I love your graphic, Rob. From Studio Vans. So Studio Vans have been supported by Margaret and worked with Margaret and the team, and we'll hear a little bit about maybe how that's happened as we go. So if I can hand over to you, Margaret, because it's kind of this session. I suppose just quickly before I do, and Margaret will introduce others, but we've got both Caroline and Stuart, who represent two other similar centres, different geographies in the south of Scotland with AIMS, is Stuart Kelly and Caroline Brown from the Smart Hub Lanarkshire, I suppose, if you like, in the sort of central, more the central belt. So whatever regional support is needed, these guys are here, and they'll give a few minutes later on and introduce themselves also. But sorry, Margaret, over to you.
Thank you very much. So yes, I'm the project manager for the Advancing Manufacturing within the West Highlands. I have got a wee overview video, and I'll share that, just showing you exactly what the centre looks like in 2 seconds. Maybe I should have got Jane to do it after all. So I'll just play it. So yeah, very jazzy, I know, but I'll now go on to the slides, which is more informative. But that was to show you where our location was and some of the equipment actually being used. So if I share the Advanced Manufacturing. So this is our building, which you did see within that video. As the rest of the funds, we have been funded through European funding, through Scottish Enterprise, and also with HI, and we are here to help small to medium business with zero cost in different ways. So the team is only made up from myself, a project manager, and my technician, Andy Harper, and his background is CAM. So he is learning all the machines, but he has been working for Autodesk for 29 years and is quite proficient in doing the CAM. Within our centre, we're trying to sort of split it into different things. So we've got 3D scanners, CAD and CAM, 3D printers, machining, Industry 4.0, and then myself working with people to try and see if there's ways that I can help with design or ways of looking at how to structure projects with them. And so one of the things we're sort of trying to develop here is sort of like knowledge share and allowing people to have a discussion without feeling that they're not getting anything out of it, and allow them to try things without having big expenditures to get to that stage. So first of all, we've got two different types of 3D scanners. So we've got the Leica system, which we have been using to scan things like gears to get accurate scans of them. Or most recently, we scanned an internal of a hotel that had suffered an arson attack to allow them to show, create representations of what the rooms will look like and begin to put it on their website, even though they don't have the rooms themselves. And then our smaller scanner, we have been scanning things like whiskey decanters, allowing the people who had created the original ones to have a CAD model of that. And then our 3D, our CAD, we've got Fusion, SolidWorks and Solid Edge, and we have been working with people to either let them have a shot of the CAD without having to buy it, help source the CAD, create models for them, or create engineering drawings. From that, we then can use our 3D printer. So we've got extruded plastic, which allows people to be able to do prototypes, make molds, and various other things within the centre. And we've got two different sizes of 3D printers. And then we have got our CNC machines. So we've got a 5-axis miller, which is a Mazak. This is the first one of its type in Scotland. And then we've got a 3-axis Doosan, a tool-driven lathe, a wood router, and a plasma cutter. And within the CNC workshop, we're able to cut steel, aluminium, plastic, and wood. So at the moment, we actually have people, we have Mazak in the centre with one of our SMEs to use the 5-axis to see if it's a viable option for him to get a machine like this within his premises and allow them to go through all the different programming they might have to do without having to buy it beforehand. Oh, sorry, too far. And then also the last thing is the Industry 4.0. So actually, once we get on to speaking to Caroline, this is more their area, but we have got a number of machines that people are able to come in and use and see if they are able to put things like this into their own business. So our suite consists of physical equipment. So we have hydraulic and pneumatic workstations, simulation softwares, mini production line that represent what it would be in your own factory, and also units that you're able to program different things, so to do with colour, to do with sorting things, and solar, wind and electric car trainers. And we have been sort of using this in different ways, but this is sort of an area that we will be able to allow people to use, but not necessarily have open it all the time. And then the last of all is just my background and how I can come on to your projects and help. So if there's product design that's needing looked at, if there's research, if there is any ways that we can work together to see if we can knowledge share some of the equipment that we have got, I provide that by speaking to the SMEs. And then last of all is, if I can't answer it, there is actually 12 of us within this fund, so we will go on and speak to two of the other ones, but this is a list of the different projects out there that are here to help SMEs free of charge within Scotland. And then last was just my contact. And then I'm going to ask Rob, who's one of the SMEs we have been working with, to just sort of explain how we've been working together. So this is Rob from Studio Vans.
Hi everyone, thanks Margaret. Yeah, we've been working together a bit on, well, I guess I'll give you a bit of an intro to us first. I'd hoped to actually join from our workshop, our studio in Ballyvanich, in Benbecula, right next to the airport there, but I'm in Glasgow, and at the moment, for a few days I'm in Glasgow, and when I'm in Glasgow it's kind of easy to go and meet people. It's easy to get stuff if you forget or break something in the workshop. And so our business is, I guess, trying to overcome that hurdle, which we would otherwise find at the end of that ferry, in being able to digitize things, being able to share information virtually, take advantage of this like decade shift in remote working. And so it seemed to be such a good fit to work with Margaret in advancing manufacture, because we're doing that anyway in the business. And simply put, what we're actually doing is we're doing camper vans. So manufacturing on the island. And if we were just building camper vans under one roof, we would be, you know, competing against the mainland offering with a lot more kind of costs associated with our business. So what we can do is we've got this nifty frame that basically allows distributed manufacturing within our business. And what we're doing with Margaret is trying to develop that frame system to a point where it's, I guess, a bit more scalable to help. So we've got some other projects that are helping along those lines as well. And with what Margaret's offered us is, you know, engineering reviews. Some of the work that we're doing with some of the academic partners through other schemes. There's review processes that, you know, I'm sitting on my own with an engineering background, and it's really good to have a senior engineer as well to bounce some ideas off. So Margaret's doing a lot of that, as well as looking at things that are manufactured and actually looking at how we can make the actual product more efficiently by potentially bringing in some digitization to our own workshop, but also quite probably more exciting is how we can scale by bringing in shared remote collaborations to build these what are being reported as really beautiful camper van fit outs with makers and designers and artists that are contributing to them. So hopefully I've not waffled on too much there and given you a bit of a picture about, you know, why that fit is good for us as a business, trying to split out the manufacture and how that works really well with what Margaret's doing.
Thank you very much. And yes, and their studio is very exciting, and they're not just working in Studio Vans, they also are helping out their local gin distillery with doing fantastic shelving and kitting out a van for them. So just and that's Dyport gin, and it was excellent work. So then just to let you know that some of the things I said about my project, as in Industry 4.0, we have another project which Caroline runs, and then probably is superior expertise in this area. So I'll hand over to her.
Thank you, Margaret. Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah, that's good. Just double checking because I'm on an earphone situation here. What I'm going to do is just share a few slides with you. Just like to start off to say thank you for the invitation to come along and participate today. Which is great. What should be showing on your screen just now? Can you just let me know if you can see that okay? Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's just not presenter mode though, Caroline. So
I think that's it. It should come up now. That's fine. So yeah, thank you so much for the invitation along. It's great to support the event, and for me actually really interesting to find out and see a bit more of the other projects. So that was really interesting, Margaret, to see your facility and the equipment that you've got sitting in there. Just to give you a very brief overview of our project here in Lanarkshire. Our project, like Margaret's, is one of the 12 within the cluster spread across Scotland. Ours is a partnership project involving North Lanarkshire Council, who I'm employed by, New College Lanarkshire, and also the University of Strathclyde. And we came together to bid into the Advancing Manufacturing Challenge Fund with a project idea that we were really keen to see delivered on the ground in Lanarkshire to bring manufacturing support and expertise into the area for our SMEs here. So we're based on the Motherwell campus at New College Lanarkshire, and our project duration, we started at the end of April last year due to some delays because of COVID, and we'll run till the end of June next year. So our services can really be sort of summarised in sort of three headings. Within our hub, we have a demonstration facility where we are able to showcase the technology that we have sitting within that. We also, like Margaret and the AMC, we have a mini smart factory, an Industry 4 factory set up within the hub. We have one of our UR5E cobots integrated into that factory to be able to demonstrate how that works with the technology. We also have another 2 freestanding UR5E cobots within that space as well. We also have within the tower that you saw in the first image on the top floor, we have a hub meeting space up there, and we use that for inviting companies in for events, for workshops. We also open that up to allow our partner agencies and our companies to use that space at no cost. If they want to use it for off-site training, for interviewing, recruitment, it's a blank canvas. It's there to be used by manufacturing companies for whatever purpose that they see fit, and we're very open to approach of that. And lastly, we, through our relationship with the University of Strathclyde, we have an SME engagement advisor from the National Manufacturing Institute Scotland, based within the hub 1 day a week on a Thursday. And that advisor is available to Lanarkshire manufacturing SMEs to come in and connect with and to access support from the wider MNIS network. So that's just a little look, probably some better photos there, just to let you get a glimpse of what companies see when they come into the hub space and the technology that we have set up in there. What happens within that space offer? We run weekly demo sessions that we open up to companies to come in, and then a sort of small group setting, come in and have a 2-hour demonstration of the cobots and to their capabilities. And also companies get the chance to actually get hands-on and do some basic programming and truly understand, you know, what these cobots are capable of doing within their company. We also run one-to-one company sessions, and these have proved popular. So rather than having an open forum where we have a number of companies, we do a closed one-to-one session for an engineering team to come in and actually have a look at the technology with a view to, you know, considering how that could apply within their own companies and as part of their future plans. We work with partners such as Seed and a range of others, SMAs, within the network, to run events and bring their clients and customers into the Smart Hub facility. And from August, we will be doing some school engagement with the hub being used as a base to bring secondary school pupils in to help them understand what the world of manufacturing looks like now, to help reprofile that view of the manufacturing sector and how automated and how much technology is playing a factor, you know, for the future. So it's to try and reprofile and reposition manufacturing as an attractive career option for youngsters. And lastly, one new development of our hub is we have an additional cobot, a slightly bigger UR10E, that we are able to allow companies to trial on site within their own premises for up to 2 weeks. There's no cost to the companies in that, and it comes with 2 days of technical consultancy support as well. So, you know, the cobot is able to go and test out capabilities in a live manufacturing setting. And that's proven popular with companies following on from the demo sessions. So there's a little look inside our hub space in the tower, and that just lets you see we have a board table in there and a screen and technology, so we're fully connected in that space, and that lets you get a look at that. And that's really it. As I say, just a very brief overview of what's happening within the hub in Motherwell. And anyone that wants to engage or touch base with us, you can go onto the North Lanarkshire Council Smart Hub Lanarkshire website, and you can get in touch or with me direct. Happy to be of assistance if anyone's got any questions or has any interest in the hub going forward. But thank you otherwise for the chance to talk about it.
Thank you, Caroline. And lastly, I'll introduce Stuart, who has just newly started at the AIMS project, and they have very similar and slightly more equipment than we do and is based in a different location. And I'll let him enlighten you on that.
Morning. Have I shared my screen yet? What's it showing?
Yes.
Title slide of your AIMS project.
It's not presenter. Oh, it is now.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so the AIMS project is based down in the Scottish borders in Dumfries and Galloway. As Margaret said, we actually have very similar equipment to what you've got up in the West Highlands there. We've got 3D metal printers as well, heavy industrial equipment, a lot of metrology equipment as well. The new toys we've just brought in are the AR and VR visualization. We're building a suite in a second facility in Dumfries known as the Bridge, another college satellite. So that'll get up and running soon, and we've got the same sort of sister organisation over in the Borders College. Again, the AR VR suite, plus the cobots and the 3D polymer printers. I think the best way to do it is to look at the video, to be honest. If you run. I don't think I'll take up the whole 5 minutes though. So it just gives you an idea of the equipment we've got. The other thing I have to say though is that the team that's here in Dumfries, we have experts in welding, we've experts in machining, and we've actually got one guy that's really hot on 3D printing, whether it's polymers, metals, exotic materials. So we have got that expertise. So this is Johnny, this is our expert in 3D printing, and I believe he's got 7 or 8 3D printers at home of various ages and technologies. So anything you need 3D printed, this guy knows how to do it. It's incredible what you can do. And similar with the cobots, but I think Smart Hub Lanarkshire are ahead of us in terms of ability and capability there. We're getting used to them now. Then the cobot welding cell. A 5-axis milling machine. I think I'll wrap up there. I think we've seen plenty.
So again, with all 3 of the projects, we have got a website. Well, SEED has a website where you can get in contact with any of us with our projects and the other ones that are located in different locations. So I think I'll hand it back to David now.
Yeah, that's fine, Margaret. Yeah, No, that was good to go around all the centres. I was just going to ask, and this, any of you can pick this up because it's something that maybe is in people's minds, particularly when they look at the centre. So there's a lot of capability there, a lot of expertise. Have achieved a lot so far already in terms of support and delivery, but how obviously they are geographically spread, which is a good thing because then for access. But in terms of support, you know, what are the views and, you know, regionally the support? So for example, Caroline, you obviously mentioned you have got the ability to do cobot trials, which are probably oversubscribed anyway, but you know, how far could that reach be, for example?
Yeah, you know, our kind of primary focus is the Lanarkshire and surrounding council areas as part of our project commitment. But to be truthful, we have companies coming in from further afield, you know, to access the services of the hub, whether that's through webinars or to events in person. We've had a situation recently where we've been approached to go, you know, a reasonable distance outside of Lanarkshire to demonstrate cobot technology for a sort of one-off special event. So we're very open and very flexible. You know, our view is if companies are prepared to come to us into Lanarkshire to access the services and the facility, if we're asked and we're able to do it, you know, we'll respond, you know, as best we can to meet, you know, the request. To be honest, it's all about, you know, helping the company, and if it helps them on their journeys of what they're exploring or their plans are for, you know, their future factories, then we are really up for being part of that discussion, because it's meeting the needs of industry, and that's where we're trying to, you know, add a bit of value and make ourselves useful, really.
Okay, no, that's good, and I know that the centres have already, you know, collaborated in terms of, you know, not sharing as such, but you know, if there's a better centre, a more appropriate for geography or for capability to make that referral, and I think that's where that joined up approach works really well. I can see, obviously there's only a few, you know, there's not many of us on the webinar, but there are a couple of questions there. And I know, is it Hongyan Yu? And you've obviously got some interest in Industry 4.0, and you kind of ask what the main challenges are for SMEs in adopting that technology, and maybe what approaches. I don't know if any of the centres so far have had enough experience, exposure, or could maybe pick up on that.
Well, from my point of view, the Industry 4.0 hasn't been as big a success in my in Port William. We have mentioned it and talked about it, and to the point where when I do find someone, it would be possibly that, as we say, we're quite happy to reach out to one another. So I would speak to Caroline's team to maybe integrate it better with an SME, but whenever we've approached it so far, it's not really been one of our stronger suits, I have to admit. But I think Caroline's probably on the opposite side, because that's her main drive.
Yeah.
I'm happy to come in on that. I think one of the big learnings for us with our hub is that we've kind of had to drop any assumptions, you know, about the SME market and manufacturing companies. We've really gone back to basics with our offer, because, you know, what we're finding in the feedback from companies that do come in is that there's quite a big journey to go on, and some companies will come in and be absolutely honest and say, don't know anything about cobots, tell us about them. I think because industrial robots have been around for a long time, there's this assumption that, you know, it's quite well embedded, that's what robotic technology looks like. But I think cobots are a different proposition altogether, and the affordability of them and the ease of use and integration is still quite a learning curve for companies, and that's what they're feeding back to us. So they're very open to kind of getting back to absolute basics and be taken on a journey that we're hoping will stimulate their interest in automation and Industry 4 capabilities. And it's not just small micro, small businesses we're getting coming through the doors. It's increasingly medium-sized companies who are got very well established manufacturing operational setups, and they're still seeing a value in how cobots can work within that environment, and that's the conversations that we're having. So we've kind of stepped back a little bit on the journey of playing a role in trying to stimulate that awareness and interest, and not assume that because it's big companies that are quite long established and have got what look to be quite advanced or sophisticated manufacturing setups, that's not a reflection of maybe where they're at and what they still need to do. So that's really been a big learning for us, isn't it?
Okay, no, thanks for that. I think I would echo that. I'm kind of a little bit separate from both ends of that question, but I would say that all of these new technologies or new ways tend to be a journey. So that journey just isn't one step to the end point. There's multiple steps along the way, and it's about taking the right steps at the right time to get people, to take people to that new place. So yeah, I would echo that. There's, please do, if there are questions, just fire them in the chat box. We'll try and pick them up as we go. But I had a question for Rob, actually, if he's still with us. This is still kind of online. Hi, Rob.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
It's not an overly challenging question, but it's just in the kind of light of this and with the centres here, and obviously you've managed to engage with Margaret and the team, and you mentioned a few other area or groups or support that you've maybe been able to access as well for your business, for the improvement of your business. I was just wondering if you had any views on how other smaller businesses, how could we better engage with smaller business so that they are more aware of these centres and the other support that's available, maybe from your perspective? Is there anything you can suggest on that?
Yeah, I think, I got plugged in just by getting involved at the early stages in the kind of Business Gateway, High and Scottish Enterprise kind of networks. And so it kind of opened my eyes to these other things that were going on. And I think some of those relationships of the networks of them have basically overlapped with Margaret and put us together. So that's how we kind of came together. If I'd seen more publicity or been contacted directly, maybe I'd have joined the dots as well. It's kind of hard to say exactly how best to do it, but I mean, while we've jumped on this decade in remote collaborations, it's always quite good to have some sort of face-to-face at some point. So maybe some sort of, it's not that big a country, like a bit of a kind of tour around and get to see what's happening on the ground, because you can get a feel. I mean, you guys would get a feel for instantly how businesses are doing things, and you could add value straight away by just talking 5 minutes down the line, and that kind of creates that connection that then goes remote much more easily. If you're trying to create that cold connection or connection from someone that's not already plugged into the networks, is perhaps something. But like I say, just getting plugged into the sort of business and entrepreneurial networks as well, kind of looking at all these things and just keeping an eye on that. I guess keeping a presence with those organisations and word travels pretty fast within them. So that was quite a good way to do it anyway.
Okay, no, thanks for that. I don't know if this is kind of putting you on the spot again. It's just a general one. If from your side, Margaret or Stuart or Caroline, what are the better approaches to try and engage the business community, the smaller and medium-sized enterprise? It is the challenge. You've got the capability there. How do we connect the dots, if you like, between the capability and the need? It's the age-old question, and it's probably no right answer. It's probably just a series of kind of different ways of thinking. So I don't know.
As Rob said, the way that we kind of High has been, but that's obviously for Highland area, have been very supportive. It's our part funder, so we've just educated all our high people, and so we don't do many events, and then also our local chamber. So that's how we know a lot of the businesses round by, and like High do seem to have quite a good understanding of what businesses of that sort of size that are needing. So met Stuart Black, who has been to Rob just last week and mentioned all the ones on the US islands. And again, the one thing that I suppose Rob has been, even though he's saying get your boots, get out and about and speaking to people, he's quite happy to go online and speak to people that way. And a lot of the further sort of field people will initially do that, but they don't necessarily like the cold call, is all I would say. So it's working out what are the right people to be talking to, and so that they're not just getting hundreds of people coming to them and asking. And that's why High works for us, because they do some of the work by knowing what's out there and telling their SMEs about it. Or that's how I find the centres work so far.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to educate some of these. Not that they should need educating, maybe perhaps, but certainly specifically educating some of these bodies who can then provide the link to the support. I think with you and High and obviously the chambers, and I guess Stuart in the south, you've got the South Scotland Enterprise as well, and the other probably colleges and institutions and other kind of councils and business support groups down there. I guess it's what I know you've worked with. I know most of them are stakeholders anyway in AIMS, but yeah, I guess it's just about all working together and promoting the capabilities that are available down there. Would that be a fair?
Absolutely, as you said, it's building the network and getting the word out.
Yeah. Okay.
I was just going to add, if that's all right, into that. It's just something that's occurred to me is it would be nice to see sector-focused business support more embedded in the kind of mainstream business support offers, because I think if you're starting or growing a business, there's a lot of kind of generic business advice and support available that a lot of the agencies are good at, are very good at helping companies with. I'm not going to say that's not the case, but I think there's room in there for additional layers of kind of sector specialism to come in. So facilities like this, these spread across Scotland, I think they need to be more embedded in the business support offer to companies, and that includes advisors and specialists and organisations that are business facing, being more aware of what the manufacturing sector needs and what the support offer looks like for that sector. So I think that's something I would like to see in the future, is much more sectoral focus coming through in the support offers that are available nationally across Scotland, because I think that would speak to companies, that there's a support service that's kind of relevant to them there, and I think it would open a lot of doors.
Okay. No, I agree with that. I think that's a good point, Mark. Caroline. I don't know. There's not. I wasn't anticipating many more, but there's not many other kind of questions, queries, or discussion points coming in. But just one last one for me, for you, Margaret. I suppose is, we've had Rob on today, but is there anything, given that we're going to capture this and kind of share this a wee bit, and hopefully more people are able to see what goes on, not just your centre but the others. Is there, are you able to share any other examples of some of the work that you've been doing? I know you touched on some of it along the way, but is there anything that you can bring your centre to life with, other examples?
So a lot of the stuff we've done hasn't been released yet. So we are working with a company, a young company in Inverness, who had initially paid a lot of money towards a CAD company and he thought they were at the point of just getting manufacturing. So what I was doing for them was sourcing their manufacturing. It actually turned out that he'd had only got concepts and not actually fully clearance concepts of CAD. So we've worked with them, and it's eaten up more time than we initially expected the project to take, but we've redesigned a shaker, a drink shaker. He's going up for awards for it. So from getting him to do the design process, which he didn't really have an understanding of, making him write processes, a specification, going through the designs, and actually now we're at the point where we've completed the design. So again, I'll probably be speaking to maybe even Ames to try and sort of, you know, because that we're not all just pushing all our work into one SME, but also not leaving the SME without further help. So we'd look to probably pass on the prototyping to Ames if they've got availability on that, which again, in how the networks work, even though it's great to be in the same place as your manufacturing, as we sort of talked about, Scotland's not that big. So again, there's postal services and there's ways that our different centres are working together. And I've really, so again, I know it's not giving you or showing exactly what we designed for them. It shows you that we are willing to go from the very start and help them. And we're also reaching out to partners like Interface. So, you know, to try and capitalise as much as possible on what we can get an SME without like overspending a budget on one. We're always trying to get a final solution to them, even if it starts off quite rough. And again, everybody in the projects are very willing to talk to one another and help out SMEs as well as they can. Don't think it quite answered it, but hopefully it shows that we are working together, and it can vary from doing product design to doing the scans of the hotel, which then I'm working with one of the other partners, which is the Brian's one. I never remember the name, but he does visualizations. So then we had one that was working and they weren't quite sure who they wanted to work with. So again, Brian, myself and Caroline spoke to the SME and worked out who was the most appropriate project to go with without wasting the SME's time.
No, I think no, it does, because it kind of highlighted another kind of area of support, that whole kind of upfront product design for people who are maybe not got that skill or capability, and you can provide that. And I mean, that's a real positive. And then obviously the collaboration is element as well, and working together on that very point. Kind of question in terms of, you know, people being key, people having knowledge of Industry 4.0 being key. So therefore, from an academic point of view, and how are we creating those links to the universities or to the colleges, I guess, in terms of working together and developing programmes. So I know that you've all been doing stuff with the colleges and unis.
So my college, West Highland College, does not have a STEM centre yet, or STEM parts, but what we are looking to do is reaching out to some of the other memberships that are around Scotland and letting them use the equipment, even though personally all the projects can't make money off their own equipment, but we can work with other providers to see if it's the right way to go. And it's out with our KPIs that we've been asked for Scottish Enterprise, but it is with the whole mind of manufacturing improvement in Scotland. So yes, we are working with them, and it's just finding the best ways to work with them and achieve our KPIs.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know, Caroline, you kind of do a lot with the Strathclyde, for example, and you know, is that influencing their academic programme in any way, or is it just really kind of supporting the centre at the moment?
I think it's early days for us. You know, we're just past, you know, our first year of delivery, and we've been on quite a journey ourselves, getting ourselves set up and establishing a programme and sort of seeing what works and what doesn't. And I think by the time we get to the end of the delivery timeframe at the end of June, we'll have a clearer picture in our own mind, you know, about what we've delivered and how we can then, I guess, engage sort of meaningfully with the university. University of Strathclyde is a partner, and it's probably part of the conversation we'll pick up with them about, you know, what we do next, and how we take what we've learned and achieved, you know, through the project over the year, and what we do with that. So it's not something that's right now at the forefront of my mind, but it's something we no doubt should be looking at.
Okay. Stuart, was there anything from you. You're very early into into your time, maybe in this role anyway in Ames, but you know, is that something you can see being something that you'll develop in due course, working more with the colleges, the institutions down there, and maybe influencing them in some way?
Yeah, once we get through some of the politics, but yeah, definitely we need to work closer with them.
Yeah, okay. Well, it looks as though we've got a willing candidate at Napier anyway, so to work with. So I'm kind of wondering that, you know, we've got a small crowd. We lost maybe one or two. You know, we've covered a lot of ground. I think it's a good session in terms of capturing what the MC can deliver, plus all the other centres as well. So I'm wondering, unless there's any other questions, anything you guys, like Margaret, you want to add? I was just going to propose that we finish up there, if that sounds about right.
Yes, thank you very much for everyone who's attended.
Yeah. Okay, I think somebody's in the background, but anyway, thanks everyone for attending, and we'll make the session live at some point soon, and thanks very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.